Welcome to the apartment. I'm Asif. This is
Ali Baluch.
And guys, my.
We have a great episode for them today.
This is especially an episode for people who are interested in the arts and creativity and how to keep that flowing and
finding what's
distinct.
right for you and finding that voice
and sticking true to what feels honest to you,
and
which is why
we got our really close friend, one of the top comedians in Los Angeles, Fahim Anwar.
And when we say top comedians, we mean that he's a comedian, meaning like to be a big comic and to stand out in LA is extremely hard. And for the past 10 years, he's been working on his craft he's consistently been absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's been on TV and movies.
He's been all over.
You take Afghani people to go see him.
Every 2 weeks or every week, I always have guests come in and I always go watch his comedy shows. And I'm like, honestly, in tears.
He's hilarious.
I'm in tears.
Yeah.
I think this episode is very for a more mature audience.
Absolutely.
Who are very serious about trying to understand the creative process that a lot of these creatives have. Mm-hmm.
And also learning how to make the decisions in your career, not just based off of what you think will work for you
or like that
what other people want,
or that quick little momentarily.
Right, doing things because, and as creative people, you got to look at the long term and how to stay focused and build a career and not just, a thing.
Yeah,
just
the importance of longevity is pretty highlighted throughout the episode. So
I think you guys will really like it. We get into Hollywood. We get into him working with Tina Fey.
Oh, yeah.
Creating characters for stand-up, developing jokes.
Yeah.
And
for those of you guys who are watching this on YouTube, if you guys are on the go and you guys can't watch the entire video, hop over to our iTunes. We have this episode. The audio is available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. And if you're listening to this on iTunes and you just got home from like your long commute and you want to watch the rest of the episode, check us out on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
so this is it. Enjoy.
Wow.
Baby, Fahim, go get it.
Today we have Fahim Anwar.
Yes, we do.
Fahim is a talented. He's not just like...
Wait till you hear this, man.
He's not just okay, but he's talented.
He's very talented.
He's a talented comedian, actor, director, and writer. Now, I've said director before, but this guy is a director.
Like an actual one.
Like an actual director. Fahim recently was on Late Night with Seth Meyers.
Meyers
And Conan O'Brien.
And Conan.
At the same time.
Are you allowed to do that? To double dip?
NBC,
opposing networks?
Well, we didn't let them know, because they want you to do. This isn't true at all. I mean, the listeners, they're like, oh, they get territorial over this
drama.
You could do all of them. It doesn't matter.
They won't allow their comedians to hop networks.
Yeah.
He was on a series. He was a series regular on NBC's Chuck.
No. That was just a one time. That was a guest star.
We argued about this.
Come on, you gotta.
And you kept saying it was a guest star, and I kept saying it was a recurring. Really, you didn't do more than
just one episode.
Really?
I was just
Chuck
like,
versus the Nacho Sampler.
And but a series regular on MTV's Disaster Date.
Yes.
And Guy Code.
Yes. MTV's been good to me.
MTV's been
good.
real nice.
Oh yeah.
Last year, he made his feature film debut. Or actually, it was this year.
No, I would say
late last year, early this year. He made his feature film debut in Tina Fey's Tango, Whiskey, Foxtrot.
Who else was in that movie?
Alfred Molina.
He played Dr. Octopus in one of the Spider-Man movies.
Isn't that great? Like he's like a very established and great actor. He's done many things.
But that's the thing I remember.
Yeah, same here. Like I'm like Doc Ock. Oh my God,
I've done legitimate theater, sir.
Yeah. He was in it.
Tina Fey was in it.
Tina Fey. Margot Robbie.
Who's in Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad.
Martin Freeman. Yeah.
From the original Office.
And the original Office.
And The Hobbit.
But what's funny, it's like she did Suicide Squad, Margot Robbie, you know? This was the movie before that. So she had a personal trainer.
Oh, she's getting ripped.
Yeah, that was the time that she was supposed to be getting ripped for Suicide Squad.
That's crazy.
And she kept on dodging the personal trainer, kind of.
Why?
Or just because she was busy and had things. So I was just kicking it with her trainer the whole time when I was in New Mexico.
He's like, "Well,
he's a really cool dude."
Yeah. You didn't film in Afghanistan?
No, believe it or not.
Where do they shoot that?
New Mexico.
God damn it! You know what they say? New Mexico, the new Afghanistan. People say that a lot. Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about your town doubling as Afghanistan.
That's not a good sign for businesses coming in, being like, you want to start your business here. We're known as the new Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
Like a less strict Afghanistan.
And last but not least, He was recently listed as one of the top 10 rising comedians in LA.
Oh wow, that's the ultimate authoritative source on comedians in the scene.
Yeah.
It's not just one guy's opinion who has a blog. It's like they poll everybody. It's very scientific. There's comedy meters that come into the clubs, and there's these meters with the needle moving. And mine was off the chart.
They're just like, oh, this guy's got it. This guy
Totally.
It's that guy's opinion, whoever wrote that blog piece, article.
Was it Variety or something?
And
the IFC.
And it was my personal bias as well. I was like, I agree with that. Top 10, if not number 1. But anyway, welcome to the apartment. Welcome back to the apartment.
Thank you.
Comedian from not LA, Seattle.
That's correct. Yeah.
Correct. How, and you didn't really, I mean, you've gone over this multiple times on like almost every interview you have.
Right.
But you studied, you got a degree in engineering first before you kind of dove in. I mean, you were kind of doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you finished school in engineering.
You actually did it. You weren't like the guy who's like, I'm going to drop out and be a juggler.
Yeah, no.
You're like, I'm going to finish this.
Yeah.
Because who knows what will happen out there.
Kind of. It would just sort of seem like leverage. So I got the degree in mechanical engineering, and I got a job at Boeing in Long Beach. So that allowed me, because I knew I wanted to come out here.
Yeah.
And that was the closest I can get to kind of Hollywood, Long Beach.
Yeah.
So I'd work by day, do stand-up at night. I would drive up to Hollywood.
I would see him.
Yeah.
He would, in Hollywood, he would drive all the way up after work. And that's a long-ass drive.
It's like 40 minutes.
40 minutes with no
45.
traffic.
Yeah.
With no traffic.
Yeah.
He'd be
I'm very
driving
familiar
up.
with the 710.
And just
A
to
lot of
like
trucks.
hang out.
Me and the
It'd be
truckers.
just him hanging out. Just to get some FaceTime, because that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
When you just hang out, just so the guy sees you and he's like, hey, man. Cool
Yeah.
to
Oh, you're
see
still
you.
alive. All right.
And that's it.
So that's part of
I
it.
have a question. Why'd you pick mechanical engineering? There's lots of other engineerings.
Yeah.
Which
All
is
right.
the actual term, right? Engineerings?
Yeah. So what happened was, I think when it came time to choose a major, I told my dad, I'm like, I want to do, I think it was a theater degree. I want to do.
hell yeah.
Oh,
no.
man. I mean, I'm so glad now
You told
that he put
your-
the kibosh on it.
Yeah. You told your Afghan dad that you wanted
You're
to
like,
do theater.
I want to learn interpretive dance.
Right.
For
Basically.
$40,000.
So he said no, and then I just kept on like pitching more and more kind of watered down versions
This
of
was
it.
your practice of pitching to a network?
Yeah. Just taking notes. Just it doesn't have to be.
All right,
theater.
picture this. I'm a
What
dancer.
about- Yeah. So then it was directing, and then no on that, and then I think it was like copywriting or English major or something. He's like, no, basically engineering is what we compromised with, and then there's so many of them.
What was the ideal? If
What do you mean?
engineering was a compromise, then what did they really want?
What did he?
like medicine.
Oh, for you to be like a doctor?
Yeah,
or something.
or dentist, but
Okay.
probably doctor.
So
That's
they're
the
like,
whole grade.
I like how that's like the immigrant compromise of like, all right, I guess I'll let you be a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
As if
That
it's
was
so easy.
Like they're disappointed that. So I'm settling for engineering, and there's so many fields in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then my best friend who lived next door, David Bradley.
Yeah.
Shout out. What's
Shout
up?
out to David Bradley.
So
DB.
he
Yeah.
was doing mechanical engineering. And I was like, I'll do mechanical. I'll be with my friend.
Yeah.
So that's why I
That's
chose
how
it. Just because I would have classes with my
Can
friend.
I say that's the best kind of peer pressure I've ever heard?
But it wasn't even
Usually-
peer pressure. I was just
Yeah.
like, yo, what kind are you doing?
And he's like,
He's like, mechanical. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I'll do that.
Okay. So you graduate. You graduated school. Did you come to LA right off the bat?
Pretty much. So I graduated, and then like a few months went by or whatever. I had a phone interview with Boeing Long Beach, and then afterwards they gave me an offer. And I think like in the fall, like September sometime, is when I came into Long Beach. And
do you feel like you
set
did
up shop.
something? You feel like you did something in that interview that made them go, "This is the guy," or was it just like he has a degree?
Actually, there was a joke that happened. So I'm on the
Oh,
phone
shit. So
with
here we go.
like,
This is something.
I'm in my PJs too. It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Doing phone interviews, they just think you're in a tux. So, but I'm just like in my pajamas after eating a bowl of cereal. And so I'm just answering all these engineering questions and stuff. And I think there's like 3 bosses on the phone. And then it just goes out, like there's dial tone.
Oh shit.
And then, so then they call me back. And then I pick up. And they're like, oh, sorry about that. I go, oh, I thought you guys hung up on me. Or I thought you guys didn't like my answer and hung up on me. Which isn't like the most brilliant
But
joke.
they
But I
lost
guess
their
in like
minds.
corporate
Oh
world,
my
there's
God.
like, "Brah." Yeah, so I think that greased the wheels a little bit.
They're like, this guy's got everything. He
Yeah.
knows math.
He's
and
quick on
got
his
it.
feet. He's got
Yeah.
good phone humor.
All right. So before you get to LA, you kind of like developed your comedy roots in Seattle.
Yeah, so I started doing stand-up right after senior year of high school. So I was like 18, and that summer is when I started. And throughout college, I was just doing stand-up in school.
Yeah.
So I was in Seattle for about 4 years doing stand-up before I moved. And that's a good chunk of time to really get a feel for who you are and what your voice is comedically or how to write a joke.
Yeah. How was it living with, well, not living with, being an Afghan, having your parents approve of what you're doing? Were they totally chill, like, oh, you can go off and do your comedy as long as you're doing school? Or were they like,
they're like,
were you doing it under,
were
you like sneaking out at night, jumping off the roof, you know, like?
A little bit of both. Like, they were, I mean, I wasn't sneaking out and all this stuff, but they, you know, they weren't gung-ho about me doing stand-up. They were cool with my performance stuff when I was in high school and everything.
You did theater in high school?
Yeah, I think for like a year or two I did
you
theater.
You did a backflip.
If you go on YouTube and like,
we're gonna put the
type
link.
my name,
We're gonna put
flip,
the link in this. And
I put it up on YouTube.
You did a
I do a
backflip?
backflip off the stage. I mean, not intentionally.
Not intentionally.
I just fall off and I take the speaker off with me, and you can hear the crowd gasp
What was
because
the
they think
play?
I died.
Was it a play?
It was Kiss Me Kate.
Wow,
It's musical.
You were like, listen, this is you took it 8 Mile. You were like, you only get one
It was
opportunity.
closing night because I had hit that backflip. It was a round off to backflip.
Yeah.
You know, get that momentum going.
I'm just, because I remember watching this video. That's why I'm just...
The video's hilarious because if you watch it, it's like very much like that grainy handycam footage.
Oh,
it's
this
like
is like
some
mini DV.
It's American, funniest home videos or whatever,
And
you know?
you see him and you're like, oh man, this guy's got the juice. And you're like so into it, and you clearly have done it before. So you have that confidence of like, nothing can go wrong. I've done this. This is Adele's 6th night at the Staples Center. You got it.
This is what I do.
This is what I do, what I live for. And then you do the flip, and then they're like, where did this guy go?
Well, I landed on my heels.
Yeah, and then you just like,
because it was
fall
closing
off.
night and I was just way too amped.
Yeah.
And when you land on your heels, there's always momentum taking you backwards. So then it's like, that's also one of my favorite things when I watch people whose like upper body is going faster than their legs, and then they like try to catch up, but it's not going to happen. So it's this like impending doom.
Yeah.
So I'm backtracking, and then I take a monitor off the stage with me, and everyone's like, oh, because it looked very violent. And then I was just so embarrassed.
I will say, for the people that went to that play, they were probably like, the stunts in this show.
Yeah.
They were, that's why they were there. They were there to watch that. You know, you gave the people what they paid for.
They think that's what it is. I have to do that every show from now on. Like, but then I just did a somersault back on the stage so quickly because I was so embarrassed.
And they were like,
and people thought that was part of the play.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So check that out.
This guy's got the goods.
But basically, parents weren't into it, and it was like I was doing heroin. You know, I would come home from the comedy club. My mom's like, "Your father's worried about you."
Yeah, if engineering is
what
a
is this
compromise?
comedy? Is it worth throwing your life away for?
Yeah.
And but so long as I was getting the grades and still going to engineering school, there was nothing they could really say.
Yeah.
And then, I got a job, and now I'm on my own. They're not about it, but I'm supporting myself. I'm still a functioning member of society.
Yeah.
And
What about now? Are they?
Because your brother is a dentist.
Yeah, my brother's a
So
dentist.
do they always kind of like when you guys hang out, because you guys are very close, you guys hang out all the time, do they kind of just like, do you ever find them just like looking at you
Why
and like
not?
looking at your brother
And
and
just
being
like-
like, what happened
Yeah.
here?
Yeah,
in that
slam
way?
dunk. He did.
Slam dunk.
Yeah, I always say my parents are 1 for 2.
So what I'm saying is like when they see that, because I have cousins like that, and they'll just like look at them and be like, what happened here?
Yeah.
How is the difference so wide in career paths?
But I kind of did do the regular thing. Like, I have it in me. And
True,
I think my
yeah.
dad knows that there's all this wasted potential. Like, I could be a doctor and be miserable, but like that's not a factor today. Like, happiness has no equation
For immigrant parents,
in immigrant parents' sons' lives.
it's not about
It's
you
like,
being happy. It's about making money.
yeah,
and
like what
supporting
does
yourself.
feelings have to do with anything?
It's a job. Shut
I
up.
have a
I have a family.
when I have company over, I need a talking point. What does your happiness have to do with anything?
You're ruining his interviews when he hangs out with his friends. You're
Yeah.
like, so what does your son do? He's like, next pass.
I feel like it'd just be best if he says my son's addicted to drugs than to be like my son is in the arts and doing comedy and following his dreams.
Then it would make sense then
the
why we're
immi-
acting the way we are.
It's
Like,
just-
oh, he's on drugs.
It's
Of
just
course
like
he wants to
it's
be
like
an artist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because to them it's like the same thing. Like you're just throwing money away. You're burning money on something that's just fleeting.
And to want to have a job that is actually fulfilling. That's a very American thing, to want to have a job that...
To follow your dreams.
Yeah.
To do what makes you happy.
And they're like, what?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I think with every job I book, or it's becoming easier as it's becoming more and more legitimate, I guess.
Yeah.
Little TV spots here and there. It's easier. It's an easier pill for them to swallow.
So now they're...
I mean, they're not like Team Fahim or whatever, like in the stand.
They haven't printed the shirts yet?
Yeah.
You still get phone calls to come back and maybe get back into engineering?
I think it's so far gone now at this point. Like, they don't. Yeah.
How did they take it when you're like, I'm giving up engineering?
Yeah, because you were already working at your job, so I'm sure that they were like...
You were at Boeing for how long?
Like 3.5 years. They didn't take it as bad as I thought. I mean, obviously it wasn't... They weren't happy about it.
Right.
But I think I had already been supporting myself for 3.5 years. And so there's an element of like relief just to know that I can do that. So, and I've already been out of their hair for a while. Like, not that I was a troubled youth or anything, but I think they knew I'd be okay, or they were skeptical, but...
Like, he's smart enough. He can handle himself. He'll be fine.
Yeah, or if they just learned to deal with the resistance for so long that...
Yeah. Have you ever been to Afghanistan?
I haven't.
Wow, you've never been.
No. Have you? You've
He's
gone.
been.
I've gone like 3 times.
Isn't it like bad now?
Now it's bad.
Where in Afghanistan is your family from?
Kabul.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So,
When did they come over?
I think like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh,
before the Russians came in.
oh, so they weren't. They didn't flee the war. They came here to study, or they came here.
Yeah.
To,
I think my dad was here for like schooling, and then he kind of saw the way the winds were blowing a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. And,
How
and then
did they-
came back for school because he came back to Afghanistan, and then was like, let me go back to America for school.
mm-hmm.
Did your parents have an arranged marriage like mine?
No.
That's so cool.
Oh, that's
Oh, were yours?
fascinating. You know, I've never asked.
What the hell's wrong with you? You've never
Don't ask,
asked?
don't tell, man. It's better not to know.
exactly. Don't
It's
ask.
true love, man. Shut up. All right. It's always true love.
I'm sure, like, friends of families might have like put them in touch. I don't know.
You know what my parents was? My dad was here working, and he got a job in Arizona. He got that Honeywell job, and then he called his mom, and his mom was like, "I got your wife. Come back." And it was that quick. It's like, I got you a new phone.
Like he stood in line.
I don't know.
He camped out for the new wife.
Isn't that absurd?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess everyone was doing that back then, so it wasn't that big of a deal. He was like, all right, it's fine. Then they trauma bonded here.
Trauma bonding.
So on the topic of Afghanistan and
Yeah.
being Afghan, you get to LA. You have a massively, for the time that it came out, viral video, the Afghan wedding.
Yeah.
What kind of like
YouTube 1.0, baby.
Yeah, this was
YouTube
like
1.0 fame.
2006, 2007. It has hit 1 million views.
That's the hard
Like
million,
recently?
though, man. That's
No, like a couple years back, like 2 years ago.
maybe like 2 years ago. That was a hard-earned.
And I remember, everybody subsequently, like after that video came out, and it was capitalized on your ability to dance, which was not in the intro, which we should put in, that you're a phenomenal dancer.
You are.
Self-taught.
No,
Yeah,
you
I'm
are a
alright.
self-taught
For a
dancer.
comedian, I'm
You're a
decent.
self-taught great dancer, I think.
Yeah, no, really good.
And so you kind of use that, like you're like dancing.
Well, this
different
is just
types
kind of
dancing.
silly that,
Yeah.
it's not like, it's like you're blown away by my Afghan dancing in this video. It's just a sort of taking the air out of all the archetypes you would see at Afghan weddings,
Yeah.
So I just shot on my apartment, super easy to do. I think with the Afghan wedding thing, I'm very proud of it. And it was something that I still stand by. And I thought it was very funny when I did it.
Yeah.
And I can understand why a lot of people gravitated towards it. But that's just one idea I had. And I'll just do whatever I think is funny. I don't want to chase that one thing and just play. Then it feels like a job. I'd rather work at Boeing if I'm just kind of like chasing views.
Right.
Yeah.
And I did Afghan Wedding Aftermath just because I thought it's so funny that like this one video does kind of well. And then I play this guy who's just, it's gone to my head. Like I'm wearing sunglasses and I'm like, because that's, to me, that's very funny.
It was.
And, but then also too, is like, I didn't put out stuff super regularly. I didn't capitalize on this huge video. I just kind of did things whenever inspiration struck me or I wanted to do it.
How
I
do you
didn't
feel
really play the YouTube game.
Because you do the, you're doing stand-up, and so you're working on the actual artistic end of it, building a craft and getting good at that.
But that's what's so strange about the internet too. Is like I had been doing stand-up for 4 or 5 years prior to putting that video out. But to most people, that's when I existed. So that's just the power of the internet, They'll be like, and they'll see me do all these things, and they'll feel like I got it just because of Afghan Wedding, or
Like, he got on that Tina Fey movie because she saw
Afghan.
Wedding.
Yeah, So
It's not the hours that you put in doing stand up. It's
stand-up.
not the hours that you put in doing traveling back and forth to these shows. It's just this one video that you got lucky with, and then that's what people say is like, that's your success, you know?
Do you feel like you have what is your relationship with the internet now? As far as
it's powerful, you know. It's been good to me. Yeah. and it's a powerful tool. I mean, I'm on Twitter a lot, and every now and then I'll put something on.
Your tweets
are great. They're phenomenal.
Oh,
fire.
Thanks.
if there was a metrics to measure like the best tweets out there,
underappreciated, I will say.
You would definitely be like top 5.
Yeah.
I don't really follow
off of just like quality.
Yeah.
You have a very high hit rate.
Within 140 characters.
Very high hit rate.
That's what's great about Twitter is it really forces you to pare down your idea and get your point across in 140 characters.
I'm struggling on Twitter because Ali's like,
it's great for joke writing. You know, I always say Twitter's like mixtapes for comedians.
Yeah. Just
like
throw
this
a bunch
is for
of
the
shit
streets.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be about to tweet something and I'm like, oh, this is too good. I gotta save this for the album.
And you just do that on set.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What were you saying about your?
Because he got me to like. I was on Twitter, but I never really used it.
He
that
doesn't
much.
tweet.
And then he was like, "You got to get on it." And then I started doing it, and then I was like jokingly playing around with like memes, right? And then so like I'd do like regular jokes, right? And they'd be like, okay, even if the joke is really good, people would be like, okay. And then for some reason, if you add a photo, people are like, yeah, God.
Well, we're in
damn
this
it.
new meme culture where every joke is when you that moment.
Literally, if you go on my Twitter, that's all it is.
Like I could just take a picture of a homeless guy eating a burrito and
be
just say like
that moment
when you can't get into the nightclub or
Oh
that moment your girl.
When that guac hits you right, and you gotta sit down. Like and like that's it.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm doing on Twitter, and I gotta say it's doing very well. People really enjoy it.
I encourage you to continue tweeting.
Yeah. But my trade-off off the memes is like I'll use pictures of me.
Oh, okay.
They won't be just like random photos.
That's kind of funny, just like watching a guy trying to start
I'm
a
memeing
meme.
myself.
Yeah. He's trying to
it's so hard trying to get his Asif meme to take off.
It's like Asif, stop trying to make your meme.
And none of them are, but they're doing okay.
I feel like Twitter's dying though. Like no one's really everyone's on Instagram, Snapchat, and I love Twitter.
Yeah.
But there's not this explosive growth on it.
It's tough. It's tricky.
Facebook is making a resurgence.
What? Because of their Facebook videos and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe
people are using that.
Maybe, but you know, you did a lot of road stuff. You came back. I mean, you were in LA. I remember you telling me the story that when you first met Bobby Lee.
Oh
from, Mad TV at the time, and this is the time when like Mad TV was really popping. What was that interaction like? How did you meet him? And
so I was at the Comedy Store, and then I'm friends with Chris D'Elia. You know,
so the Comedy Store, big. For those of you who don't know anything about comedy, it's a big historical comedy club on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, West Hollywood, that like all the big comedians kind of just go there and work out there. So you're at the Comedy Store, and
so I'm hanging with Chris, and then Bobby's sitting on the steps there at the Comedy Store, and Chris is like, "Hey, this is my buddy Fahim. This is Bobby," and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And then he's just he's very inquisitive, you know. He'll cut to the chase. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, my parents are from Afghanistan." And he's smoking a cigarette, and he's like, "Do you want to be in this Man TV sketch?" And I'm like,
this is like 2 minutes into meeting.
Basically, yeah. And I'm like, "What's the sketch?" He goes,
So wait, you weren't even like, you didn't even hop on to be like,
you weren't even friends with him yet.
You know, you didn't even just like, because if you know.
Yeah, this is the first time I've met him.
Like if I was in your spot, you know, and I just got to LA, and someone's like, "Do you want to be on Mad TV?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." Like
that seems to be like the default thing that.
What do you? But you were like,
I was like, "What's this?"
Yeah, you asked. You weren't even like, "Yeah, I'll do it for sure."
Yeah, it's just a very immigrant thing to do. Of like, it's too good to be true.
Yeah, you're like, "Tell me about it first."
Well, it depends too. Just like I think for a long time I've known what I want to do, or I have a very specific sense of my comedic sensibilities, and does this align with what I want to do or not?
Yeah.
So I was like, what's the sketch? And I forget what it was. He's like, I'm doing something in this room, and then I open up a closet, and then you have your shirt off, and I think you have a turban on, you're sharpening a sword in my closet. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then he just couldn't get it through. He's like, wait, what?
It's a sketch for Mad TV.
You're gonna be on TV, national
yeah.
TV. You don't want to be in the sketch? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to do that. And then Chris is like, yeah, he doesn't really do that shit.
And this like you're new to the comedy scene into like LA too. This is like when you're
yeah.
And
That's crazy.
you get your first kind of like big TV gig.
I guess, but in the
Offer?
grand scheme of things, it's like, sure, when you're a kid or whatever, to be on TV seems like this big shiny thing.
Yeah.
But it's so common to be on TV, and it's such a blip. It's not like you're Tom Hanks. Like I'm turning down some
Right.
Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah.
So my life taking that or not taking that,
Very
are
much
completely the same.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, we both have this from acting in LA. Do you find that saying no has helped you a lot? Because I find that it has helped me a lot. Because when I was starting,
for sure.
I would get these like terrorist auditions, and I'm like, I can't do that. And then people would just, your reps would be like, wow, it's money, man. What do you mean you don't want to do this?
Yeah. Or they're just so used to everybody saying yes.
that if you say no, they're like, well, I don't understand. And you have to like explain it to them.
I explain to them, like,
Yeah.
this is what I want to go out for,
And
this
it's
is what I
also,
don't.
you're just a terrorist for the rest of your
And
career.
then if they look at your IMDb,
And it's
like
all that.
say that you want to go out for this like legit thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like this Asif guy. Let me look at his stuff. And it's just all NCIS and it's all
Homeland shit, yeah.
Homeland. Like, oh, he's one of these guys.
He can't be how could he ever be Mike's friend?
Yeah, you don't realize that the jobs you take kind of carve out your career.
And that's kind of shitty, actually, if you're an ethnic actor, because it's like these are the roles being offered to me.
If you're just a straight up actor, it's tough.
It's hard.
Like I'm a comedian, so sometimes these things will come through, and I'm like, I don't need it. I have a show tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm doing my own things, so I have that to fall back on. Where this isn't as precious.
Right.
Whereas if I was like, I need to eat, I'll say Allah Akbar. you know.
Yeah.
Oh God! And then ironically, spend your money at halal guys. Yeah.
So how was that? Do you feel like saying no might hurt too if you say no a lot?
Like too many times?
No, I mean, if it's true to you, and then what are you losing? You know,
Yeah.
if you really don't want to do these things, then who cares?
Yeah.
Like, if you're saying maybe it'll hurt you for those same type of things of them wanting you, but yeah, there's always a reason with my no's. I don't just blanket. There's stuff I want to do. I like performing, and there's certain projects. But
there's a lot of people that watch this that want to get into the arts, and I will often get asked, and I'm sure you do, about like auditioning.
I don't get that actually. No,
You never get that?
Yeah,
Like
no.
a lot of people are like, how do you audition, man?
Oh, they'll say like, I remember when I was on some of the MTV stuff, they'd be like, yo, how'd you get that? Could you like tell them about me?
As if you can just be like
That's how I got it.
let me call
like
the
let me
ex-
pay it forward because I hit some guy up on Facebook.
Yeah. So, you moved to LA, you're working at Boeing, you're hanging out at the comedy store, you're hanging out at these comedy clubs, you're meeting a lot of comedians. What was that? And you're still working full time, 9 to 5. When were you like, okay, I'm leaving engineering? When was like that point where you're like, I'm gonna do
That moment.
Yeah, did you have like
that
a
moment when you decide? Can we meme my life here?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
That
tweet it right
moment
now.
when you decide not to engineer anymore. Yeah, basically.
And it's just you, just like
Yeah. It's a picture of me, and there's a black bar above here and a black bar here. I actually booked Chuck when I was still working at Boeing.
oh.
So I said I had a family emergency, and I had to go to Seattle for 8 days, but I was really in Burbank shooting Chuck on the Warner Brothers lot.
Yeah.
Filmed it. What's kind of crazy is my boss died while I was shooting it.
What?
He had a heart attack.
On the
I think he was
job?
just jogging. No, he was just jogging one day, and so that was weird for me.
Was he old?
Not really. He was like mid-40s.
Oh, shit, that's terrible.
Mid-40s, maybe 50. Yeah, and then it was so strange to leave with him alive, then come back and he's not there.
Yeah.
So
wow.
filmed Chuck, came back. I was still working for a bit, and then I had a few things which led me to quit. I had gotten on the NBC Stand Up for Diversity thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
So there were some colleges
nice.
lined up where there's money there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd gotten, the big thing though was disaster date, because they needed
Yeah.
me for like 3 months.
Yeah.
So I tried to take a leave of absence, but they wouldn't let me. And
Mhm.
I tried to do everything to keep my job and still do disaster date, but they wouldn't. And I didn't tell them what it was for. I kept my world separate.
Mm-hmm. And that's before.
So I didn't tell them like,
before
I
you
got to
got-
do this MTV show.
Yeah.
So
you wouldn't tell them that you have like these comedy
I don't think that
shows?
would have mattered.
Okay.
I just like kept my world separate.
But just even like your coworkers, they didn't really know. Okay.
Yeah.
Fahim's a private person.
Private prayer. Well, I just don't. want them to think that's affecting my work.
Well, you didn't want them to like be like, do something from Disaster Day today.
Yeah, or be the funny guy.
Mm-hmm. Now you got to write bits for The
Yeah.
Office.
Yeah, or like, oh, want to come to your show? Or I'm just I like having different Fahims.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So the Disaster Day is what's really kind of led me to, I had to take that time off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
So that kind of ends, and then
I started hitting the bottle pretty hard.
you started doing
that ends. And
ends.
with
and
your-
you spiral.
early recent collaborator friend Aristotle.
Yeah.
You started doing these impressively like high quality short films.
Some would say
Uh-huh.
unnecessarily high quality based off the response.
sometimes, yeah.
yeah,
And-
from the views to production quality ratio.
And that sucks, right? Because you'd be doing it. You got together with
I think
Ari,
that's why we burnt out.
who's
you
a great
know?
director, and you guys started doing these amazing sketches. And they were like, I would say short films.
They were short
weren't
films.
sketches.
Yeah.
They were short
Yeah,
films.
he's
They were
great.
shorts.
He's very talented.
And then from there, you made a super group.
Yes.
So it was the
Our
original.
Fifth Harmony.
Yeah, it was the original two, you and Aristotle. He was still directing.
Yeah.
You bring in
Bring in
Asif,
Asif.
Uh-huh.
and then Hassan
Hassan,
comes in as well. So you
Uh-huh.
guys have like this like super group, this super
we all have a
comedy.
ring.
The Brown Avengers.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
yeah.
everyone had like a little role.
Yeah.
Like everyone brought like a little something.
And the idea initially was let's just make really funny,
Yeah,
interesting
stuff
things.
that we like.
Stuff we like. And stuff that's shot in that vein of like really
Yeah.
nice, high quality stuff that, you know, could get people to look at us and be like, wow, these are more than just people that play terrorists.
Yeah.
And to that end, we did a good job.
Yeah.
What burnt us out, like what he was saying earlier, was to make a sketch where I just put a scarf on and pretend to be my mom, and then you turn the camera
Like in
around,
his
and then I
living
pretend.
room. Yeah.
That's so easy. It's almost offensive.
I wanted, the whole intent of the group was that four brown dudes could have very Western comedic sensibilities and make these great sketches.
And we're
they
not-
just happen to be four brown dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we don't have to telegraph.
We're not defined
Like, we could
by
go
being-
there if we want to,
Yeah.
but that's not by design, you know?
And we did things that were popular, and
Yeah.
then, but the issue was every time we'd meet with them,
They're like, how do we make this a brown sketch show?
and we're like, it's not.
they
It's just
wanted
a
to
sketch.
make it more, like, why
Yeah.
can't we just,
Have it be a show.
yeah.
Yeah. And they
Like
wanted,
SNL, they don't talk about why they're so white, or, you know, they just do sketches.
Yeah.
They just couldn't get through their brains
They
of
were
like
like, how do we
four
do
brown
this?
dudes just doing regular
Comedy,
sketches.
yeah.
It was
like they
really
really had to
weird.
telegraph this message that
Yeah, and then so doing things that are that high quality,
we had
Yeah.
TV sensibilities
Mhm.
on the internet.
and
Yeah.
that's the thing. People should have saw that and be like, put these guys on TV. It's not for the internet.
Yeah. How did you and Aristotle agree to be like, we're going to bring in Asif and Hassan? Because there was like dozens and dozens of like brown comedians
Uh-huh.
in the LA
Oh, yeah.
comedy scene.
How did you Lorne Michaels us?
How are you like, were you like
Well,
sitting
here's
in the
thought
back?
process why. So me and Aristotle were doing things on our own for
Yeah.
a bit, and you know we had a few things take off. Like, what did we do?
The Domino's.
video,
Yeah.
and I forget what else. There might have been another one. So, but it was we noticed that we'd be doing these great videos, but getting no real traction. You know, we'd have a fluke pop off.
Mm-hmm.
But then we were meeting one time and we're like, what? Maybe we need a specific angle, you know? Like, I'm Afghan, you're half Persian and half Greek.
Mm-hmm.
We're just like two guys. But if we bring in like some other funny brown guys that we like, then it's kind of like, all right, here's a specific angle.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just continue doing what we're doing. But
Yeah.
at least there's a hook to
Yeah.
it. And then just through doing stand-up comedy, that's how we know Asif and Hassan,
Mm-hmm.
and we like them, and it just seemed like a perfect fit to
Okay.
bring them into the fold too.
Yeah.
So now it's like a group instead
Yeah.
of just two guys doing things.
Someday we'll regroup
Yeah.
like Monty Python.
Yeah. No, I the world is awaiting for the next goat face.
They're waiting, man.
Yeah, and then you know, you do a lot of like TV spots, and then recently I remember you telling me this really funny story about how you auditioned for the Tina Fey film Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Uh-huh.
What was that whole audition process like?
So when I was shooting Late Night with Seth Meyers, I was in New York,
Mhm.
and then I got an audition for it, and they're like, "Can you, like, before your show, go?" And I'm like, "I gotta focus on my late night set.
Yeah.
I can't. It's too much for me." I go, "Maybe I'll put myself on tape when I go back to LA."
Yeah.
Go back to LA, put myself on tape, And the role, his name is Farouk, I believe, in the audition. Put myself on tape, and then I don't hear anything for a bit. And then they like me, so then I had to do a Skype audition, which I've never done before. That was kind of weird.
With like Tina?
No, with the directors.
Okay,
John and Glenn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm in my apartment. I Skype them.
You're also wearing pajamas, like your
yeah,
interview?
basically, yeah, bottom half, very cash. So then I do the audition over Skype, and they're like, okay, great. So that's that. I don't hear anything for a long time. I'm like, I guess I didn't get it. And then I find out that I didn't get that part, but they threw me the role of Jaweed. So they're just giving it to me. I don't have to read for anything. I'm like, that's cool. At least, I thought I wasn't even in this thing. And then I get on set, and then that role of Farouk, they changed the name to Fahim.
Oh my God.
Tina, did you dirty like that?
I don't know how that came to be, but it's just so funny.
Tina, I've worked with you before. Why would you do that to Fahim?
Did me dirty.
God, you took
They took my name, not me.
You took his part and his name?
Damn. And they gave it to somebody else.
It was so confusing on set.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Fahim. I'm like, which one?
How long was the shoot for?
I was there for maybe like 2 months, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you filmed in New Mexico.
Yeah. Santa Fe and then Albuquerque.
How do they turn it to Afghanistan?
It's not that hard, I guess.
I guess not. But like, how was it on set? I mean, how was that experience? How was it?
Yeah, what's it like being on
these-
a
A
legit
lot of
movie set?
egos. No, I'm just kidding.
No, because like everyone on that like film was like an A-list. Like,
Yeah.
You were working with Dr. Octopus.
I know.
Yeah.
He's the sweetest dude
Yeah.
ever. So nice.
Yeah.
Martin Freeman, so nice.
I often find that the people who are the most successful are usually the nicest people.
Yeah. Like, I remember, because I would have nothing to do a lot. I'm just walking around Albuquerque, and then I saw Martin Freeman. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to go get like a tea or something. He's like, can I join you? And so we just go to this coffee shop.
Yeah.
And we're just drinking tea. So much tea.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Talking.
I'm just like talking his ear off about SNL and The Hobbit and the original Office and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, sweetest guy.
oh man, so you're just kicking it with Watson.
That's
And
so
I don't know if I
cool.
still have his number or if that was just for the.
Oh.
Should I call him?
Yeah.
Right now, just like put your phone on the
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, so I mean, like you're hanging out with all just very casually offset with
Yeah, because you're in Albuquerque. There's not a ton to do.
Okay, so this just came to me. So the guy that they casted to play Fahim,
Yeah, Chris Abbott.
Chris Abbott, great actor.
Yeah.
but he was a white guy.
Or he's not straight. I think he's like half something, but I don't know if he's Middle Eastern.
Half white. He's white and half white.
Yeah.
But he's not Afghan.
Right.
So did you feel kind of slighted for a white guy to take a role of an Afghan
And take your name.
and like not even, it just kind of falls into that whitewashing of Hollywood.
I think that's the norm in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure, Asif, you've gone out for like an Egyptian role or
the
like,
time.
it's all interchangeable.
Yeah,
I think. Well, at least in Hollywood,
No,
like
for
if
sure.
you're kind of within the realm, because it's very hard if it's like Palestinian, you got to find the Tom Hanks of Palestine. Like,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
That's tough.
So, I mean, like, because, like, not only was that, an issue, but, like, there's just so many movies, like, Gods of Egypt, and it had, like, two British guys,
Yeah.
white guys, and they have, like, another...
Like Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
was
Prince of
Jack
Persia,
Gyllenhaal.
and Exodus with Christian Bale,
Yeah.
and they just keep throwing these, like, white people under these roles.
I
of,
think
like,
it's starting to become a thing now where audiences want to see that erased,
Yeah.
because you're seeing enough articles about it. Whereas back in the day, it was just part of the norm,
Yeah.
but now as we've progressed as a society, like people want to see or get as close to that ethnicity as you
Right.
can and still hold up the
Yeah.
For it to be authentic.
yeah.
No, for sure.
Mhm.
So you've kind of developed this alter ego character.
You made your own alter ego.
Yeah.
You're Slim Shady. And you took it out, and the guy's called Lance.
Yeah. It was all chance. It wasn't premeditated or anything. What happened was Willie Hunter, stand-up comedian, I think he's EP on the Carmichael show.
Yeah.
So he had some variety show in the main room at the Comedy Store. And he called me up and he wanted me like to dance on it as a musical guest, just to come out and dance. And I'm like, that's weird. If I just come out as
And
a
dance
man or
for 5
dance,
minutes,
it's kind of
yeah.
like sad. So I was like, that's kind of weird if I do that. I go, what if I dress up as like a character and do it? He's like, yeah, that's fine. because Lance, that getup existed for Dirty Breakin' that we did with Melissa, that
short
sketch.
film.
Right.
So I dressed up like that. I did this dance number to Chromeo in the main room. It was great. It was very funny. And then I'm just floating around. There's 3 showrooms in the comedy store.
Right.
The main room, belly room upstairs, and the OR.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm still dressed like this, and one of the door guys is like, hey, open mic's going on. Nobody's really, do you want to go up? And I go, yeah, sure. And so I'm about to go on, and I'm dressed like this, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, do I do an accent or do I not? I go, I got to do an accent. Otherwise, it makes no sense.
Otherwise, it's just like, what the fuck happened to Fahim?
Yeah, I can't just like be dressed like that and be like, hey, how are you guys doing? Like I have a mullet. And I'm like, what'd you do today?
Yeah.
So I go up there, and there's maybe 5-7 people in the crowd, very late night.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of start crushing, or there's this laugh that's different than laughs when you do jokes. You know, you can still do well with
when
like
you do
jokes.
like 7 people and you're doing a joke and it does well, you know, it's not like a huge laugh. It'll be like a laugh of like, that's a great joke. That's going to do amazing when you get an actual audience.
Right.
But this is different.
This cut through that.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of, these laughs I was getting were sort of like when you're with your brother or sister growing up, and it's
like gut laughs.
Yeah, gut, like you're not, there's nothing to think about.
No.
It's just, it's immediate.
Mm-hmm.
So people give you a hard time here?
No, not really. They see me and they don't want the hard time.
So it planted the seed with me, and then I did it sporadically, maybe like every 2 months or here and there.
There were like Bigfoot sightings. Like I would be around and then like I'd see you at the Improv and be like, oh God, this is happening.
And then it just got more and more legs, and then I'm like, let me do this with more regularity. I started doing it every week.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started to do it every week, it kind of got refined. And
did you initially start
knew
with
what the
jokes,
character
or
was.
did you always have it be?
No, it was always improv.
Yeah.
Now I have some jokes. I'm starting to. But this is like 2 years in.
Yeah.
So yeah, now my thing is kind of like dance, maybe do a canned joke here or there, just to kind of get the temperature of what the guy's about, so they don't feel so threatened when I come out with the questions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So once I dance, do a few canned jokes, and they warm up to you.
They're like, they have to adjust to your character.
Because if they want to play, it's going to be great.
Yeah,
it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Like if there's questions on questions and people are lobbing questions to Lance,
it gets
it's
really
gonna be so
great.
fun.
Yeah.
But if they're kind of like, because sometimes I'll do it like, and they'll just be like they don't want to say anything.
Oh, because they're
and
scared.
the coal of the choo-choo is questions. So if you're not lobbing questions, it's tough.
Yeah. Lance doesn't want to rely on his material.
Yeah. It's not that fun that way.
Okay, so like just to give people an example, you're Fahim, you're answering questions like a normal human being.
Right.
It's just a thoughtful human being. If Lance was doing a podcast and we were going to lob him a question, like,
what's next for you? What's the next big moves for Lance?
What's happening in Hollywood for you, Lance?
It's like so much I can't keep up. Like my schedule, my iCloud is like blowing up. Like I need to get a new iPhone because it's overheating. Because there's just so many events, just like ding ding all the time. It's like auditions, meetings, movie shootings, like independent and big budget. Like I do everything.
So, do you find it hard for yourself, Lance, when you go into these auditions? You know, is it hard?
It's
for
just
you
like a lot of hot girls.
No, there's
and
like
stuff?
a door. It's very easy to get in. It's like super easy. Sometimes it's already open, so I don't have to twist. But yeah, I go in there. I slate my name. Usually I get the part after I go Lance Ganstopoulos, and they just give it to me.
Yeah.
Give me the part.
Okay. So that would be basically.
God.
And then you have another character as well, Stu
Swanson.
Stu Swanson. He's a terrifying comedian. Because it's so dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's so like.
But with the cruise ship glossy veneer, though.
So
I like that juxtaposition.
So explain what is like this cruise ship comedian? What is
who was this guy born out of?
I would do it on Instagram. Sometimes I would think of these like really corny jokes that I could never say as me because they're so bad.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I do it as this character, like it's kind of warranted. Then it's the element of I'm able to say it now. Like I think one of them was on my Instagram. I would do like, have you guys heard about 50 Shades of Grey? This movie, 50 Shades of Grey. Well, that's how many colors my wife looked at before remodeling our kitchen. Like they're so bad, but like in that voice, you're like, of course that guy.
Yeah, that character
that
would do
joke.
that.
he would make that. So
I would do that on Instagram, and then my buddy was like, "Oh, I love Stu. I love like, have you ever done him on stage?"
Yeah.
And I go, "I don't really have enough. I don't really do enough. I don't have enough of those to string together into a set."
Yeah.
But then I had been doing it a while, and I had enough finally. So then I did it on his show, and it was kind of like those type of popsicle jokes.
Yeah.
And then I had a few dark ones.
But the dark ones really hit.
Yeah, I've just learned that the best way to do it is just to have that guy doing super dark jokes. Like, that's the game.
Yeah.
Because I would do the popsicle ones, and then they just kind of like,
They'd be like,
they get a little bit of
it's a
laughs.
fun character, whatever.
But if you just do that polar opposite, it's way more powerful.
yeah, it's
So
disturbing.
great.
So like both of you guys know, like comedy it's extremely tough business to get into.
Yeah.
Have you ever like?
I don't know if it's a hard business to get into. It's a hard business
To
to stay
stay
into.
in. Stay in,
You don't know
yeah.
how much of a mental game it is. You
Yeah.
need to be
You got to Kobe
mentally
Bryant this shit.
fortified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
There's just so many. It's not an easy business.
It's like, I like to think of it as sort of
There's
like,
a lot of rejection involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just have to have a strong head. Otherwise, so many things could take you off course or just take you off the deep end.
You got to stay focused and work on what
And
you're
eyes
doing.
on your own paper.
Yeah.
Because like other people will get things, and then like that's very toxic if you fall down that rabbit hole. Like,
Of like,
why
I'm
is
gonna
he
be that
getting
guy.
that thing? And
Yeah.
and then like, how good's your comedy going to be if you're just like
Trying to
this
keep up with
toxic
other
human
people.
being? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever like felt or gotten to a point where you're like considered quitting, where you're like, I think I tried, it's not.
I think maybe after Boeing, it was harder. Or that was kind of because the jobs kind of ran out a little bit.
Yeah.
This biz is very cyclical. Or
Yeah.
comedy
Very,
is. It goes a bit
yeah.
up and down, you know, and you have to kind of go through that roller coaster
You
a
gotta
few
take
times
your
before you
lumps.
realize that, like, oh, this is just part of the thing, and I'll be back up again. It's fine. My only thing was, let me sort of check in with myself at the end of
Yeah.
each year. If I'm further along than I was the year before,
That's the whole thing, yeah.
then I'm on
It's
the right
working.
track.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my own little personal litmus test.
That's the same thing I did, yeah.
Yeah. So it's never been like, I made a mistake.
I mean,
this wasn't.
Yeah.
No,
you
because
never
I'm so
felt-
happy too, you know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like in an interview with LA Times back, I think a couple years ago, you said, and this is a quote, having a dream like this is very fragile. It's very easy for people to write it off. It's better to keep it to yourself. So, and I feel like you're talking about comedy. Do you want to kind of elaborate that? Was that like your dream of like, you don't want to share your dreams of where you want to be with comedy, or?
just to the average person, you know,
Yeah.
most people are afraid to jump, or they think the world is a certain way. You get a job, you work at it. It's not
And
all
that's
fun
it.
and games. And so because they're not doing what they want to do, it's easy to just think yours is nonsense. So when I was working at Boeing, you know, I don't tell people that I do comedy, or if I'm in an Uber or something, or
Yeah.
I don't tell them I do, because it's so easy for them to poke holes in it. Or even if they don't say anything and they say they're supportive, and there's this part of you where if you're not famous and you say you're a comedian,
People are like,
you
"No,
can
you're
tell that
not."
they think you're delusional. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
rational guy.
Yeah.
So if I tell someone I'm a stand-up comedian, let's say this is like 5 years ago, where
Yeah.
I'm good, but maybe I have no credits, or nobody really knows who I am, and I say, yeah, I do stand-up, they're like, oof, this guy. I know in their mind, they're like, oh, this guy is delusional.
I think because a lot of people, when they think of comedian, they're like, well, he's not being goofy right now.
Well, because it takes nothing to say you're a comedian.
Right.
Like a homeless guy can say he's a comedian,
Yeah.
and he has the same title as you.
Yeah. Because it's not like Boeing where you have to get like a degree.
Yeah,
to
he can't say he's a
become
doctor, or he
No.
can, you know, but people are like, I know he's not a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like, you know, people could have taken like a weekend improv class and then they get a little certificate, but at the end of the day, that means nothing as well to be like a comedian, you know?
It's just so vague, that
Yeah.
title. That, yeah.
No, I agree 100%, just because like I don't tell people I'm a filmmaker, because it's like every YouTuber now is like a filmmaker, you know? And
Everybody is a comedian.
I kind of know who I can tell this to, or
Yeah.
I'm just protective of my dreams and aspirations.
Yeah.
It's on a need to know basis.
I'm the same
Some
way.
people are different. They're just like, they'll do comedy like, I'm a comedian, you come to my show, and blah, blah,
Nah,
blah.
Yeah.
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 You know what I do when I'm on an airplane? I don't tell people that I'm a comedian. I tell them.
I'm an engineer every time.
Oh,
I honestly tell them I work at Abbott Labs because that's what my cousin does. And the conversation
Just stop.
ends.
Yeah, man.
100%.
Because I made that mistake twice of being like, I'm a comedian, and then it's just
You
like
just
a
open
bunch
the door,
of,
man.
Yeah, and I do the same thing, 100%. Yeah.
I have a question though, because like it seems like on the internet there's more it's more, you can get more popularity or more views as a comedian if your video is not of you doing a well-crafted joke, but of you, and the title is Comedian Destroys Heckler. It's, you guys can Google it. This is weird. Like, people have like great jokes.
Subculture.
There's like
comedian.
people have great jokes, and then they'll get
People
mediocre views.
confrontation.
People want to see like that angry. It's like seeing a street fight, but through comedy.
Yeah.
And have you ever had a sort of like a heckler? What's like your worst
Heckler story.
There's a Lance one on YouTube.
really?
Yeah.
But I feel like Lance is
But
like
Lance
a
can
character.
handle that. It's not like directly
But
at
he
you.
dealt with it though.
He looks for hecklers, kind of. You know?
He doesn't look for it.
Yeah.
No.
But he's
it's that-
equipped.
He can, he can handle it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember the specifics of it, but I think one time I was at the comedy store. I had basketball shorts on because I came after this game, you know.
Late night game.
Yeah, and then I was having a good set.
Yeah.
But there was like one guy in a fedora. It's always a fedora guy.
Always a fedora
He was just
guy.
like lobbing he was just being
What was he
disruptive. I forget the specifics of it.
Yeah.
But he was just kind of being an asshole. And then I was just barbing back with him, and then I was like, at the end, I got like a standing ovation, you know, just because
Wow.
I was going at it with this guy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, what's that? Why is everyone standing? I go, am I funny? Or this seems to be opposing to the thoughts you had earlier, you know? So that was kind of a nice moment.
So it doesn't really happen on the very often where
No, not
you
really.
have-
Like straight up hecklers. No.
So right now you are preparing for your comedy special.
Yeah.
Is there a certain day, time that you have set to film for us to fill up the...
Of the audience? I
Yeah.
think November 16th.
Okay.
Where are you shooting it?
The Alex Theater
In LA?
Glendale.
Oh,
Yeah.
Glendale. Nice. Do
That's-
you feel like you should? Do you feel like you're overdue? Because my brother saw you do an hour, and it's hard to. You don't really see your friends do an hour when you're
Yeah.
in town.
Yeah, everything's
brother-
like 15 minutes
15
max
minutes,
out here.
right? So my brother saw you do an hour, and he's like a comedy head, and he was like, "That guy's fucking awesome." How long do you feel like you've had an hour?
So long, man. I've been trying to get rid of this for a long time, like this particular hour, you know? So it's kind of nice that it's coming up and I can just be done with it and move on. It's sort of like clearing space on your phone. You can concentrate on the new because you have to keep these plates spinning. Like I've had these jokes and it's an hour worth of material. So it's like I got to keep them fresh enough to where I can still do them for the special or wherever the home is. And it's a special now. But so it's hard to like accrue new knowledge, and it's just a lot of bits to keep a track of. Where if you retire an hour, it's like, okay, now I can just consciously focus on these bits right here. So that's kind of nice. I'm looking forward to just clean slating.
Is there a possibility that Lance or Stu could pop up?
In the maybe, I don't know. You know, I did the documentary and I wanted to put that in it. I don't know if they'll let me, or I'm still gonna push for that or pull
What
for it.
network can you say or no?
I think it's for CISO.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Very cool.
That's exciting. And if you guys haven't checked out the Lance documentary, the link will be in the description.
You can check out Goatface sketches and
All that stuff will be in the description. You guys can really binge on. And like the worst time to binge is at like 2 a.m. because you're just going to be like pissing yourself.
you know you got shit to do in the morning. Comedy seems to work well at that witching hour of like 2 a.m. by yourself.
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you tried that? Like certain things, certain like videos and stuff you'll see like at 2 a.m. You'll be like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then you show it to your friends like at
Oh, that's
3
the-
p.m.
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're just like watching it over your shoulder and you're just like,
I mean, that's the
and they're
worst.
like,
That
I don't
happens in
get-
every like office job.
Yeah.
Is the YouTube over the shoulder game.
And
It's
people
so
are just
hard,
like-
man. Yeah, especially when they're not laughing. And you just got to sit through that 3 minutes. Like,
Yeah. I've gotten to the point now where like if they're not laughing at that first joke, I'm like, okay, never mind. I'll send.
Oh wait, this isn't it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I just close the laptop, take the phone away, and it's
I remember
over.
one time somebody sent me. I was at work. One coworker sent me the Ahmed the Dead Terrorist
Oh
thing.
my
oh
God.
God.
And then I'm just like,
Like this fucking racist shit.
And then afterwards they're like, I hope he doesn't tell HR about this.
yeah, that's probably the moment. Like,
He's like, that was a mistake.
like flashing, like,
They're
oh
like,
no.
I'm gonna lose my job specializing in bolts on this. Oh God.
Oh my God. All right, Fahim, thank you so
Yeah,
much
man. Thanks for having
for
me.
coming back
Yeah,
and kicking with us.
anytime.
All of his stuff is in the bio,
Everything.
everything. And check out those hilarious tweets. Give it a retweet.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a
man.
follow. All right,
And
man.
my memes and my shitty memes.
Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it. Great. That was a great episode.
Can I just say, Alfred Molina, he was right. I think of him as Dr. Octopus.
It's sad that you don't really see him outside of any other character but Doc. I can't list another.
I think because I saw him at that particular time in my life. Like when those Spider-Man movies came out,
his biggest film.
I think commercially, yes, but artistically, he's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And watch his other stuff. He's incredibly talented. Don't let Dr. Octopus be the only reason that you know Alfred Molina.
Yeah.
He's tremendous.
I'm just a little salty, or that he didn't particularly brown face in Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, but he did play an Afghan, which that
bothered you a little bit.
That always bothers me. But anyways,
if you ever see him, you can be like, "Hey, Dr.
entire-
Octopus," and I'm sure that will bother him.
Yeah,
just as much.
that's an entire different podcast. But I really like this episode where it just showed the thought process that goes behind the decision making that a lot of these comedians go, and the difference between a successful comedian and
someone that has a a short burst of a career, or someone like Fahim that's been working consistently
and
for
just
a
rising
decade
to the top.
Yeah.
But
also, I want to know in the comments, guys, what are your favorite movies that have white people playing people of color?
Yeah, mine would have to be
Mine's Prince of Persia. I said that in the podcast, and I feel like because that one is is Disney spending as much money as possible to make Jake Gyllenhaal see in Persia.
Yeah, there's so many films. I don't even want to unravel that.
Do you think to do character research, Jake Gyllenhaal just went to a bunch of Persian restaurants?
He just went to Westwood
and just had a plastic sword, and he was like, okay,
this is what
this feels like.
Iranian must be like, something ridiculous. But you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for watching this.
Thank you for supporting. Thank you for making us the #1 podcast in the world. Oh my God.
We are legit either we are already the #1 podcast on YouTube, or we are
up there. We're getting there.
2-3 steps away.
And that's because of you. You supported us. You're making us not look like liars, and we thank you.
And
thank you for hitting like on our Facebook thing.
And you've supported us even with this awful haircut that I have.
Look at him, man. He still has his haircut. You'd think he'd put a wig on and have some shame at this point. But
I was actually
thinking.
I was actually looking for a hat.
Oh man!
But I forgot I gave my hats away. I did a giveaway and I gave my hats away.
You look like you just tell people you watched the night of. And you got inspired by a show about someone in jail, a brown dude in jail, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do this.
I could say that, and that's what did inspire me for this haircut. But hair
you went
grows
to Supercuts, and you're like, give me the night of.
Give me the Nasir Khan look, and they're like, say no more.
They're like, say no more. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Check out last week's episode with the one, the only Boosie Tube. Yusuf Arakat.
What's that new tat about?
Yeah,
we didn't really get into it, and I'm glad.
We completely forgot to get into. I think it would have been.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah. And check out our other episodes too. Check out our ones with Just Rain, Yuna, Nathan Zed, and Victor Pope Jr. with Zach and Waleed. We have a whole great catalog of interviews.
Also, let us know what you think in the comments of Ali's haircut, and about me going to India.
Oh, and this will be.
If any of you guys live in India, let me know. I'm going to be in Hyderabad and
this
Mumbai.
Is your last week for the month of September that you'll be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Until we hit maybe early October.
I'll be back on the 28th.
Yeah, so you'll be out for 2-3 episodes, but then you'll be back.
I'll be back, baby.
Okay.
Looking better than ever.
We'll miss your comedic charm because I don't know if I can carry.
And my overt sexuality?
Yes. I feel like we're going to lose a big female viewership because they're Asif is not there.
They want to smash, and it's just I'm too busy.
Yeah. And
nobody's DMing me. I've requested several times. No one's sliding in.
No, it's fine, man. It happens. It happens to everyone. But thank you. I will see you next week.
I'll see you the next week after next week.
All right.
I'm Asif Ali. This is Ali Baluch. Goodbye. Thank you guys so much. This is The Apartment.
And quick
and our producers. God damn it. I hate them so much, and we have to talk about them every time.
Because they produce the show.
Everyone
wants to be like Ali and Asif. You ask brilliant questions, which I do. I do ask brilliant questions.
And it's like, Asif, you look fucking phenomenal. You're getting more ripped every episode.
I've had to delete a few of those comments because they were just getting too much. It was just too much thirst on our comments. But we do have help with our producers. Help us structure these questions. They help us guide the interview.
Imran J. Khan.
Should we mention them?
We should. Imran J. Khan.
And Sumair Khan.
And they're not related.
They are not.
But they actually do a lot.
They do. And they've helped us. And if you guys, we do have a mailing address. So if you want to send us cool shit.
Please send us artwork or like things that you think we should put on the fucking behind us.
We might not.
I'm just saying, if you got some good stuff, let me know. You know what I mean?
We'll consider it. We'll see the quality of it, and if it's good enough, we'll put it on.
Send us fan stuff. Send him, Photoshop him into the night of. Do something.
It's
We're interested. We check the email. Honestly, you should do that. Photoshop him into the night of. That would be great.
Send us new shirts, man.
Yeah, a lot of people comment that we wear the same shirts. It's because we only have 3 shirts. So if you have a shirt, mail us.
Yeah, man, this podcast ain't doing as good as we
We're turning
want.
this podcast into a Goodwill, like an internet Goodwill. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your support as always. This is The Apartment. Goodbye.